So, I'm just going to explain how I did the skirt of my dress. First, this is what it looks like from a distance. Oops. But my camera cannot quite get every detail from a distance, so I'm just going to explain. The seams here are French seams, and there's 4 of them. And I made this skirt out of 2 pieces, but one piece I divided into 3 different pieces. So okay, imagine that this is the piece of fabric that I used for the front part of the skirt. So this here would be the length from here to my toes. I folded the fabric twice, here and here. And then I made a seam here and here, and then I cut off this part that I've made red, but you can't really see the color. So I cut this part off and made a French seam out of it. And I folded it away that these seams that I made would run just right here at the side of the body, because it's a little bit more like the natural shape, so there are no unwanted folds anywhere on the skirt. And then I took a piece of fabric about as big as that one, and I attached it here and here. And then I got this pretty tube shape for my skirt. Which is essential for any kind of dress. So okay, and the next thing I'm about to do is I will have to close this in the back. So there's a way of doing this. I'm going to explain it later. And first of all, I will start with the back piece. See the back piece? We don't see it, but in theory the back piece is a little wider, and I will make one cut in the back, in the middle of it, about here, for about this far into the fabric, so that I can open and close it afterwards without ripping it into pieces. So of course I can't just make a cut in the back of the dress and then leave it like that, because the material would fade away. So I prepared these little bits of fabric, which were a leftover, but I'm going to use every last inch of that fabric. So I did the same thing in my corset videos, where I just took this, I forgot the word, this stuff at the bottom and the top, and I think 1 million people have told me so far how this is called, but I forgot it. And everybody calls it differently, so that doesn't really help. So yeah, as you can see, I would love it if the camera would just focus on what I'm doing here. Okay, the camera didn't want to do what I wanted it to do, so I will do it this way. Here you can see the cut. It turned out a little less than I predicted. 15 centimeters are more than enough. This is the small piece of fabric I used for the sides of the cut. As you can see, it is folded twice, and I cut off a little bit at the beginning. It makes the end of the seam turn out a little prettier, I think. This is what it looks like when completely unfolded, and this is how I wrapped it around the fabric, of course all the way up. Finished, it looks like this, and that's what the end of the seam should look like ideally. Of course, one should do that on both sides of the cut, and here it is finished. And as you can probably see, the end of the cut is still open, and this flower pattern there might help a little, but if I would pull on it violently it would just rip open. But there's a way to prevent that. Sewing the ends together like this, or in any other way you prefer. If you do this on the inside it will look nice on the outside, and you don't have to fear for your skirt when you open and close the dress. Maybe you've met this problem already somewhere. I put the dress together with needles so you can see how the cut and the seams I just made will look in the end. Because I used the same fabric, one can hardly see where it opens, and the folds in the back cover the rest. One more shot of the whole dress. Looks quite nice, I think. And my cat sleeping on the skirt, because she's cute. Jane Austen quote of the day is from Northanger Abbey, and it's one of my personal favorites. Men only can be aware of the insensibility of men towards a new gown. It would be mortifying to the feelings of many ladies could they be made to understand how little the heart of men is affected by what is costly or new in their attire, how little it is biased by the texture of their muslin, and how unsusceptible of peculiar tenderness towards the spotted, the sprigged, the mull, or the jaconet. Woman is fine for her own satisfaction alone. No man will admire her the more, no woman will like her the better for it. Neatness and fashion are enough for the former, and a something of shabbiness or impropriety will be most endearing to the latter. And there's quite a lot of truth in that still, I think. Bye-bye!